Yeah. All right. All right. So we in here, Fraser Nation once again. We're gonna go over this study guide, and yeah. So look at your study guide. Make these marks, these notes. I don't know if you can use this for the final or not, but let's go with it. Number one. So when you look at this symbol, array has this indicator where it's only one arrow. So if you look at A, B, C, and D, the only one where ray PR starts at P and the arrow goes through R is going to be C. So number one would be C. Number two, and you're going to probably have to pause this video so that you can take your notes. Sorry about that. Number two says the notation for the length or the distance between points P and Q would be J when you don't have any indicator. So this was 1.2, section 1.2. Number three, I hate that I have to erase all this for you guys, but I'm sorry. Number three said if AB is equal to 12, so that's marked in your geometry, in your geometric sketch. And we know that the whole thing is supposed to be 29. Then we need to take away 12 from 29. So 29 minus 12 is going to be equal to 17. So we know that BC has to be 17. Yes? Next. Number four, I want to draw a labeled diagram for a ray. Well, if you remember number one, we know that a ray has one arrow, okay? And we know that it's straight. So if you look at these geometric figures, well, F has one arrow right here. There's a dot at the end, so we know that this has to be F. This is a line segment, this is the angle, and this is a line. So none of these fit except for number four. Number five. Number five is, we know that angle LJK is equal to 2x plus 7. Okay, so LJK. So we know that this is 2x plus 7. We know that IJK is equal to 7x minus 1. And we know that the whole angle itself is equal to 69. So it says that we need to find the measure of this angle and this angle. So we basically need to solve for x, and we need to plug x back in. So I'm going to say solve for x, plug back in. So let me do the work for this one real quick. I got 69 equals 7x minus 1 plus 2x plus 7. Combine like terms, and we have 69 equals 9x plus 6. Subtract 6 on both sides. 63 equals 9x. And we know that there are 7 9s that go into x. But am I finished? No. We know that I've already solved for x, and now I have to plug x back in. So if I plug in 7 here, and I plug in 7 right here, we know that IJK must be 48 because we have 49 minus 1. So my answer for number 5 has to be A. Go ahead and give you a minute to write that down in your notes, and then we can move on. All right. Number 6. Find the distance between the points -4, 1, 1, comma, -3. So we know that this is going to be x1, this is y1, this is going to be x2, y2, and so we just plug in. Okay, so x2 is going to be, in parentheses, 1 minus -4 squared plus -3 minus 1 squared. Simplify, We know that keep change flip said that these have to be plus. So we know that this is going to be the square root of 5 squared plus negative 4 squared. Two negatives, when you add them, it's going to be a bigger negative. Now I have 25 plus 16, 5 times 5, 4 times 4. And so we know that we have the square root of 41. So we have to be answer G. Number 7. Again, we have our x1, y1 here. We have our x2, y2 here. So I'm going to put x2 and I'm going to put y2 here. You could put x1, y1 there. And we're going to add our two, our two x's and our two y's. So I have x1 plus x2. So I have negative 2 plus negative 10 divided by 2. And then I have comma. And then we're going to add negative 4 and we're going to add an 8 divided by 2. So this is going to be negative 12 over 2. And we're going to have 4 over 2. So I have negative 6, comma 2, which is B. Yes? Yes. Okay. Number 8. So if we know that HOI is 21, okay, and we know that GOI, so we know that the whole thing is equal to 50, then we need to take and subtract. So this is going to be 50 minus 21. This is the angle addition postulate. And when you do 50 minus 21, you have 29 degrees. So that has to be H. Yes? Questions? All right, let's move on. This one right here, there's a mistake in this problem. None of the answers are correct. So if you look at the word complementary, you'll remember that complementary means 90 degrees, which means we need a L-shaped angle. So if I have DOC right here and I make this L shape right here, then we need angle BOC. So go ahead and put that in your, in your study guide. Supplementary is 180 degrees, okay? And we know that if R and S add up to 180 degrees and we already have 20, this has to be 180 minus 20, and that is going to equal H, which is 160. Questions? Okay. Scroll through. Number 11. Number 11, if angles are across from one another and they share a vertex, okay? So there's two angles and they're across from each other. Then you have vertical angles. Okay. Next. So number 12. Number 12 is a little bit hazy, a little bit weird. So let us continue. Number 12. If the pattern indicator continued, what would be the fourth stage? So if this is the first stage, second stage, third stage, and fourth stage, well, look at your pattern, okay? So let's see. We got 1, then we got 1 plus 4, then we got 1 plus 4 plus 9. If you cannot see that pattern, this is 1, and then you have to take 1, and you have to add 2 squared. So it's 1 plus 4. For the third stage, this is 1 plus 2 squared plus 3 squared, which is 14. So for the fourth stage, you have to do 1 plus 2 squared plus 3 squared plus 4 squared. So if you were to add all those numbers up, you're either going to get G or H, because they both equal to 30. Okay, counter example. Counterexample is if we say this is always true, you give me a statement that makes it not true. So it says if there's a line segment, I know you need to change that, but if this is a line segment, then it connects 2 points. Look at each one of your options, and right here we have B. A line connects 2 points as well. So if a line is not a line segment, you have a counterexample. So this right here is not true. Number 14. So we know that angle 3 and angle 5 are both supplementary to angle 4. So if angle 5 is equal to 78, then what is angle 3? So if these are each supplementary to angle 4, so angle 3 plus angle 5 equals 180. No, I'm sorry. That's not angle 3 and angle 5. That's angle 3 and angle 4. Angle 5 plus angle 4 equals 180. Then we know that angle 3 and angle 4 have to be the, angle 3 and angle 5 are the same. So if we do 180 minus 78, this is equal to 102 degrees, which is F. Questions? Move on. Number 15. If we know that PQ is equal to 3, and we know that PQ plus RS equals 5, then 3 equals 5, what actually changed between this statement and this statement? Well, PQ and 3 are the same. So instead of writing PQ, I substituted in 3. So we know that 15 has to be A.
Point of interruption, teachers, staff.
I'm sorry about that.
Please note that the telephones will be down at.
Okay, let's continue. Number 16. Angle 1 and angle 2 form a linear pair. The key word here is linear pair, so that means that they have to be equal to 180. We know that if angle 1 plus angle 2, we know that angle 2 is equal to 78, so 76. So we know that angle 1 plus 76 equals 180. This is an algebra 1 problem. So angle 1, if we subtract 76 from both sides, then we got to have 104. Angle H. Question? Okay. Number 17. Which of the following is not true? We know that angle 1 and angle 2 are congruent. We know that because they are vertical angles. Angles that are across from one another are going to be congruent. Okay? So let's look at at letter A. Are angle 3 and angle 4 the same? Well, they can't be. Because if you have this angle right here, this angle is not exactly across from 4. Okay? That angle is not across from 4. So, being that they're not across from each other, now angle 4 and angle 3 plus angle 5 are vertical angles, but since 3 and 4 are not exactly across from each other, A is not true. 3 and 4 are not congruent. Number 18. Number 18 is complementary angles, so that means 90 degrees. We know that angle 1 and angle 3 are vertical angles, so we know that angle 1 plus angle 2 is equal to 90 degrees. Okay, we know that. Angle 1 and angle 3 are vertical angles, so we know that angle 1 and angle 3 are congruent to each other. So if angle 2 is equal to 72 degrees, and we know that angle 1 and angle 3 are congruent, then we can say angle 3 plus 72 equals 90 degrees. And so if we subtract 72 from both sides, then we know that angle 3 has to be 18 degrees. Questions? All right, let's continue. 19. Again, 19 is vertical angles. So we know that these two angles are congruent. So I have 10x minus 15 equals 7x plus 21. The only thing we're going to do is solve for x. So if I subtract 7x on both sides, these cross out, I have 3x. And then if we add 15 to both sides, we want to cross that out. So I have all my x's on one side, the numbers on the other. So I have 3x equals 36, and 12x is going to, or 12, 3 is going to 36. So we know that 19 has to be B. Key word here, two lines that do not intersect, okay, and are coplanar. So that's your key word, they are coplanar. You know that they're parallel. Now, if they were not coplanar, and not intersect, then you know that these are skew lines. But that's only when it's non-coplanar. Okay. Number 20. I'm going to try to do this without having to scroll up. Find the value of x. You know that this is a right angle because that is a box. The box means 90 degrees. So we have here 90 equals not 9. X plus 15 plus 3x minus 17. Combine like terms, I have 90 equals 4x minus 2. Add 2 to both sides. I have 92 equals 4x. And then when you divide both 92 with 4, then you know that 21 is equal to 23 degrees. Okay? So we're finding the value of that. Number 22. They're both on the outside. They're both on the outside of your line, and they are on opposite sides. So if they're outside and on opposite sides, that means that they are alternate exterior. So you know that number 22 has to be alternate exterior. For number 23, they are next to each other, okay? So they're next to each other, and they're on the inside. So if they're next to and inside, that means that you have consecutive and they're inside. So 23 has to be consecutive interior. Okay? 24, find the value of number 4. So we know that consecutive, let's write this down. Consecutive interior angles are equal to 180 degrees, okay? If you don't remember that theorem, then you need to review that. But we know that anything that's consecutive interior has to equal 180 degrees, okay? So I have here angle 4, measure of angle 4, plus 125 equals 180, okay? Subtract 125 from both sides. And when you scratch that out, we have the measure of angle 4 is equal to 55 degrees. So we know, and I don't even have that written down. So we know that the answer here is supposed to be 55 degrees. Okay, sorry about that. All right, let's scroll down. Number 25. 25 says AD, okay, if you look at AD, and you look at CD, they meet, okay, so they actually meet, and it looks like they meet at a 90-degree angle, so they can't be parallel. Oblique is not even a vocab word. And skew line, so parallel and skew means that they don't meet. Oblique is not even a vocab term, so we know that the answer has to be perpendicular lines. Because remember, perpendicular means 90 degrees. All right, for number 26, if I have 65 degrees, and I know that this is angle 1, I want to find the measure angle 1, and we know that PQ and RS are parallel. So the one thing that you're going to want to know here is vertical angle, okay? You know about vertical angles. I keep repeating myself with vertical angles. Vertical angles is that deal. So if this is 65, then this has to be 65. And then we have consecutive interior angles. So since we have consecutive interior angles, we know that this and this have to be 180 degrees. So I have the measure of angle 1 plus 65 is equal to 180. So I know that once I subtract 65 from both sides, that crosses out and the measure of angle 1 is equal to 115. Item H. Number 27. We know that ABC, so here's ABC. We know that this is 105. Okay? And this is one of those elimination problems. So which one of these is false? Okay. So we just got to go through each one of these. A, can DEF equal 75 degrees? Well, if you had DEF and you have, let's color code it. If we have 75 degrees here, is that possible? Well, do corresponding angles. If you do corresponding angles, then the matching position, they're both on the left and they're both on top. So this has to be 105. Okay? So straight line, is equal to 180 degrees. So between this straight line right here, we know that 105 plus 75 is equal to 180. So A is a true statement. Let's go ahead and erase this. Let's see. ABH, so ABH and AEG are corresponding angles. Well, they're both on the left, they're both at the bottom. So that's a true statement. Okay. HBF. So I have HBF and I have AED. They're both on the inside and they're both on opposite sides, so they're alternate interior angles. So C cannot be right either. Okay, so by process of elimination, we know that it has to be 75, but let's prove it. Okay, so if this angle is 75 degrees, then by vertical angles, we know that this has to be 75 degrees. But that can't be true because remember we said that this has to be 105. 105 and 75 are not the same. So we know that number 27 has to be D.
This time you need to be out.
Okay. Sorry about that. Let's continue. 28. Let's see. We say that the measure angle 1 is equal to 3x plus 30. And we know that the measure angle 2 is 81. Well, first and foremost, remember you have vertical angles, okay? And always in geometry, if you can fill it out, fill it out. So we know that this is 81 degrees. Okay, so this 81, this got to be 81. And we know consecutive interior angles. Okay, so we have consecutive interior angles. We know that these two have to be equal to 180. So I have here 180 equals 3x plus 30 plus 81, combine like terms. So I have 180 equals 3x plus 111. Subtract 111 from both sides. So I have 69 equals 3x, and when you divide, then you know that it has to be 23. Okay? Slope formula. So I have here y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. And for these problems, you got to do it 2 times. So I'm going to go ahead and just fill the numbers in. I have x2, x1, y2, y1. So I have here 4 minus -1, so that's going to be plus. And then at the bottom, I have -3 minus -1, so that's gonna be a plus as well. And that's not supposed to be a 1. I apologize. That's supposed to be 7. So that's gonna be plus 7. So right here, I got 5 over 4. And then for the other one, I got, wow, and that was not even y over x. I apologize. Okay, let's try this again. So I have here -3 plus 7 over 4 plus 1. So I have here 4 over 5. I have 4 over 5, and then I have -5 plus 9, and then I have 8 minus 0. So this is 4 over 8. Okay? Parallel means the same. So it can't be that. Perpendicular means opposite, reciprocal. It's not that, and it's not the same line. So the answer to 29 is they are neither parallel or perpendicular. Okay, let's go to the home stretch, these last 3 problems. So the problems are going to be a little bit more complicated on the final, but which line is parallel to y equals 2/3 x minus 21? Well, the m here, if we have y equals mx plus b, and we know that m is equal to slope, and b is the y-intercept, we know that the slope here has to be 2 over 3. Okay, rise over run. So the only one of these that has the same slope has to be G, because this one, parallel means same slope. So that means that the M has to be the same. Right here, we have to solve for y, okay? Because we want y equals mx plus b. So if we solve for y, I have 3x plus y equals 7. Subtract 3x on both sides, and these are not like terms, so I can't combine these. So I have y equals -3x plus 7. So your old m is -3 over 1, rise over run. Perpendicular means opposite, reciprocal. Okay? Opposite, reciprocal. So that means that we need to flip this fraction, and we need to change it from negative to positive. So your new m, flip it, so it's going to be 1 over 3, and then since this was negative, this has to be positive. So the answer is going to be C. And then find the slope-intercept form of the line passing through points -3, -6. So I'm going to put an x right here, I'm going to put a y right here, and parallel to the line y equals 5x plus 4. So that right there, that's your m. Okay, so knowing y equals mx plus b, we have to plug in, okay, because we need a new n, a new b. Okay, I don't know what my new b is. Okay, so with my new b, I have y equals mx plus b. Plug in everything. -6 is your y. You have -3. No, it's not -3. So this is 5 times -3 plus b, because I don't know my b yet. So I have -6 equals -15 plus b. And then when you add 15 to both sides, this is 9 equals b. So you have the b, you have the m, it has to be parallel. So I have y equal the same m, so 5x, and then your new b, which is 9. So your new b is 9, and we have to have g. So hopefully we score well on our final coming up in the next couple of days, and hopefully you've looked at this, you've asked me questions on Schoology if you need it, and hopefully you study. Anyway, I'll see you at your final. See it!